I've had quite a few TV appearances recently, and I'm glad to say I've got to talk about some quite important subjects like war, like climate change, like refugees. But I want to use this platform, because I can, to talk about a subject that isn't getting anything like the coverage that it should be getting, but quite a serious issue that's going on right now. And one of the reasons I can pretty much guarantee you haven't heard of it is that it's called Common Platform. And that is very much like, these are not the droids you're looking for, isn't it? It's just the kind of term that you would flick straight past the newspaper headline on and scroll over to see what offensive thing Kanye West has said now, or which member of the Tory party has interfered with which endangered animal. Common Platform is an IT system that the Ministry of Justice has rolled out for use in the court system. It's cost $250 million already. It's set to cost thousands and thousands more. And the problem with it, well, there's lots of problems with it, but the main problem with it is logging on. So criminal defence lawyers wanting to log onto the system and see what information there is about their clients and what they've been accused of and when their court hearings are and what evidence has been provided and all of that sort of stuff. In order to log on, they have to have the client's first name, their surname, their date of birth, and the police reference number. And if any of those things is not exactly the same as what the police have inputted, even by one digit, one letter, you simply can't log in. And it doesn't tell you nearest matches or close misses or did you mean. It doesn't even give you like a one character leeway to go, we're pretty sure that this is the file that you're looking for. And as you can imagine, this means that, most of the time when you're trying to log in, the data you have isn't 100% the same as the data that some other system user will have had. The police make mistakes, of course they do. They make mistakes transcribing reference numbers, writing people's names down, getting people's date of birth. And if you have a name which can be spelt in lots of different ways or is commonly misspelled, or you have a name which isn't particularly common in English-speaking countries, or you have a name which is originally written in a different script. So sometimes, the K sound is translated as a C, sometimes it's a K, some people put CK. If you've got something like that in your name, the likelihood of your lawyer being able to log into your case straight away is actually extremely low. And, what's the likelihood that the police have made a mistake? Absolutely astronomically high. I've never dealt with them in my entire life, and they haven't made at least one or two glaring, clanging errors. So defence lawyers are having hours and hours of their time wasted trying to get in touch with the police, which again, if you've had experience of it, you'll know is not an easy thing to do, to clarify what data is in the system, what's there. Now, the Law Gazette, around the time that the system was being beta tested, said they quoted a source saying the problem had been flagged up by early test users and that the problem was foreseeable. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Having a system that is almost impossible to log into unless every single digit is exactly the same spacing, exactly the same date layout, exactly the same as what some probably incompetent police officer has plugged in at the other end. You're just not going to be able to get in. And criminal defence lawyers, who are already dealing with a backlog of thousands and thousands and thousands of cases due to horrendous underfunding, the slashes to legal aid, and the way that the government allowed this situation to escalate and escalate during COVID, during lockdown, and the case backlog to build up and build up and build up, are now sitting around waiting for the police to call them back to give them the correct log-on details. And of course, they're not even being paid while they're sat around waiting to do that. And that's not the only problem. There are loads of other problems with the system. Like, there's an issue with being able to save progress when you've put some information into the system but you haven't finished, which means that people using the system are not able to stop and take a break because there isn't like a save part way mechanism, which means that it's leading to work-related stress and people having eye strain and physical problems from being stuck at the computer, not even able to like go and get a cup of tea halfway through what they're doing because the system, as soon as you log out, that's it, everything is lost. And this is amazing. The problems are so bad that members of the PCS union have been on strike about it. Everybody's under the impression that strikes are always about pay and individual terms and conditions, but they're not. And this is an absolute, textbook case of it. Members of the PCS union, legal advisors and court associates have been on strike from the 22nd to the 30th of October. It's only just finished, protesting about this and demanding that they be allowed to use the old system, demanding that the system be reviewed and sorted out so that people are actually able to use it. And it feels like what the government is saying, first of all, is we just threw some money at an IT firm, and I would wager good amounts of that money that somebody in the system is getting kickbacks and is making a profit just like they did on track and trace, and that this has been handed out to their cronies in return for kickbacks and rewards and junkets and all the rest. And secondly, the people being affected by this ultimately are criminal defence lawyers and people who have been accused of a crime, and that government is hoping that we all don't care about this because they're criminals. But let's not forget that they're not criminals, they haven't been convicted of anything. And we need to have a system that makes it fair and reasonable so that when people are convicted, are accused of something, they're treated fairly right the way through the system, and they get a fair hearing and they get an opportunity to have a defence lawyer who knows what's going on and is able to represent them fully, so that the many, many innocent people who do get arrested have their fair opportunity to be heard in court and to be exonerated if they're innocent. And we also need to treat those who have committed crimes fairly and reasonably, because the punishment for crimes should be the punishment that we've set, whether that's a fine or community service or court or jail time or whatever it is. And it shouldn't be being pushed through an increasingly mangled system that nobody cares about because there are so many other huge big issues going on. But I'm glad to have the opportunity to raise this one, and it's because I have this video platform that I'm able to do so, and I super appreciate those of you who are able to sponsor me. And if you're able to do so, and or you're able to send this forward to somebody else who might look at it or who might think about sponsoring me, then I'm really grateful. That's how we get these issues into the media. Thank you so much. See you next week.